I'm at 3207 Pleasant Avenue in Hamilton, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, anything that may be of concern to the buyer. The access point is the main stack in the rear left of the basement if you're facing the house, in a little storage area. And we'll be we're going through the PVC clean out, and it looks like it is cast iron going down through the floor. And so, of course, I have a standoff on the camera, but I'm not sure it's going to make it through the turn here on the cast iron, so I'm probably going to have to remove that because it does rust and does look like I'm not going to be able to get it through. So I'm already going to have to pause the video to remove this standoff. Alright, so I'm going to go back through now. I took the little riser off the camera. Should not have a problem there, but there's always stuff when you go through a sink line like this. Didn't make it through, but can't see anything. So I'm going to push it out far enough. I'm going to run some water in the basement bathroom. See, this is why I wanted to I am underwater. Now this camera is only about a half an inch off the bottom, but this water level is just staying above. Looks like there's a backup. There we go. See, I just broke something loose. So hopefully I can get this all broke loose and we'll be able to see something. If not, I'm going to have trouble inspecting this first 30 feet due to, it seems like, a blockage. Looks like some form of a soft clog that I broke loose and now it's starting to drain. Could have been toilet paper. Coming around that corner or something, because this was all underwater and it looks like it's finally draining. So I'm going to push all the way out and then we'll turn the water off and then I'll pull back and we'll see if we can get this whole thing to drain here. Cast iron is a pretty tough material to gauge lifespan on, just because it rusts, and so unless there's obvious holes, you really can't tell how thin or thick the walls are. But a big problem with these kind of soft clogs and stuff, a big one is wet wipes. Really don't want to use any when you have cast iron under the floor. Just you don't want to use them in general, but it's worse with cast iron due to just the rust. It can very easily catch a hold of those wet wipes, and the wet wipes don't break down. They don't disintegrate like toilet paper, and so they can cause soft clog, where it's just a blockage of toilet paper, and sometimes it'll build up enough pressure behind it to push it on down the pipe. But you could see how I was underwater and I pushed through something with my camera and broke it loose. And so that was around 20 feet or so. And it looks like we have exited. Yeah, here's the end of the cast iron here at about 39 feet. Then it goes into clay, which is a pretty normal material switch over from a house of this age. And clay is a pretty good material. It doesn't rust like cast iron, but it is known to get roots in it just because the line is in 4-foot sections, and so there's just a lot of, or 3 to 4 foot sections, and so there's a lot of room for roots to get in these areas, and so it's pretty common to see that. And so far this line looks nice and smooth and clear. So we should be able to take a little bit better look on the way back. This is all open and clear and you can see well, but hopefully everything drains down. Back in the cast iron, you can take a better look at that. See, this is where it was limited. I like to have that the standoff on the camera so we can tell if this is the belly. It's pretty hard to see. So I'm going to push out far enough and turn the water off, and we'll see if it'll bring it down for us. Definitely have a big root ball there. And so we're hoping to be able to see a lot better on the way back, because right now there's some problems. But it looks like it's going to have to be cleaned. There's some pretty big root balls here. A lot of times we have these turns like this. That means we're getting close to the main. Looks like we're getting ready to drop in now. There we go. So I'm going to actually pull back to the top of this, and I'm going to get my camera level, and then I'm going to get a locate and try to see where we are to verify how close we are to the main, because I think we're getting ready to drop into the main here. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to locate exactly where the camera is, and then turn the water off and hope that it all drains down so we can get a lot better look at the line on the way back. Okay, so this turn down, I'll see if I can get it to turn down here, but basically this turn down here drops in and then goes out level and goes into the main. So a lot of times when you make this many turns, it may not turn when it gets to the bottom of this thing. Okay, there we go. But we're getting real, yeah, see, it doesn't want to push now. But you can see actually that opening there is the main. I was within about 6 feet. And so you can see that last little edge, and so this part is all open, and the fact that this is still draining probably means I was able to poke through that. And so normally maybe what happened was when they moved out, there was some toilet paper in there and it dried out and it hadn't gotten wet enough to push through yet. But the main's at about 137 to 140, and the camera won't push through that last bend, but you can see all the way to the main. So we are off the property anyway, but we're going to pull back here and take another look at this line on the way back, and hopefully we can see a lot better compared to on the way out. With this draining down, hopefully a lot of this is gone as we come back, so we can get a better look. But we do have some root intrusion. Here at 128 is one. There's some more. And there's a little more. So these are pretty good sized roots. They're not in the flow line, so they're not actively stopping it, but they should get probably should get a cleaning done. And then after that you will need to do some regular maintenance, either some Root X, the chemical, or have it cleaned every few years. Structurally, the line looked good for what I could see on the way out, so we'll see as we pull back how that looks. Looks like more roots there, and so may have been what happened is there's some root spots that caught some stuff, and then that's what the buildup. That was the buildup of all the water. So you can see stuff falling back as I pull through it. So this doesn't look bad, but this is still flowing, I think. So we'll say from about 107. There we go. Yeah, from about 100 to 107, there's a small belly. That's not really a concern, but it may be something that looked at, and hopefully most of this stuff is drained down. So I try to use the standoff, we just don't have the access to get it in, because a lot of this, you know, the camera is only a ½ an inch off the bottom of the pipe, so as I pull back, if I go quickly, you can see I poked through there. Yep, that's probably where the blockage was that I let go. There's a bunch of stuff hanging down into a bunch of roots hanging down into the pipe. So, I mean, you're talking 130 feet that need to be cleaned. And luckily, most of this, because here's another spot, a lot of roots. So I'm going to recommend a cleaning and a re-inspection, just to check behind all these roots. Good news is I was able to get it to drain down a lot with my camera, because this was all full of water before. Hoping a little bit of the haze that gets on the front of the camera clears off for a minute, and then it runs back down over the camera because it's been through all the stuff from the backup. And so, I mean, I can still physically see, but it's just a little bit hazy. Normally the camera's a lot clearer than this. So sometimes you can see it gets hazy again. A little bit of an offset there, but nothing major. It's actually at a drop, so probably been there since it was built. Back in the cast iron now. I'm going to take a look here at the kind of hard to see. But the saw looks pretty good on the way out. And then right around here is where we ran into a blockage. And again, with cast iron, it's hard to tell how much life is left in it. It looks open. I don't see, normally what you see first is a big channel on the bottom before it rusts through to the bottom. It's usually where the damage starts. This all looked good. I didn't see anything that would cause me to think about what could have caused that blockage there. Could have just been toilet paper sticking to the cast iron. It is pretty common to have that happen. PVC for a few feet as it winds through. And back into cast iron. It's probably where they put the bathroom in the basement. And this was all underwater before, if you remember, because of the blockage at around 20 feet. So, decent amount of buildup here from what's coming down that line. So, we've made it all the way back. And we're back into the reel. So, about 140 feet out to the main, and about 130 of that has got periodic root buildup that will have to be cleaned. The line looked good structurally for the amount that I could see. I did see most of it. It is a little hazy, but then you can't see behind those big root balls and stuff where they're, you want to make sure, we want to have it cleaned and then re-inspected to ensure that those haven't caused any structural issues. The cast iron looked open, and it's flowing now that we're finished, but I did have to poke through a spot with a soft clog, which means toilet paper and or something. If somebody put paper towel or a wet wipe down there, that would very easily have done that. Or if they had somebody went to the bathroom and all that and threw it down and then left and it dried out, it could have hardened to the point where the water hadn't broken it down yet, because there was nobody running water in here with it being vacant. But I don't know how long that's been. So I'm going to recommend that the line be cleaned for the whole 130 feet out to the street, and then to get the roots out, and then re-inspected to ensure that there's no structural issues. And just want to watch the cast iron. Like I mentioned earlier, the nature of cast iron is just, it's a lot easier for it to block, so make sure you're not flushing anything that you shouldn't be down the line, and just to be sure that it stays open and flowing. So, a cleaning, a re-inspection, and don't flush anything that shouldn't be flushed, so that you can take care of that cast iron a little better. But that'll end the inspection at 3207 Pleasant Avenue in Hamilton, Ohio.